Buenos días, mis alumnos. Today, the lesson is going to be a review on masculine and feminine, the gender of nouns, the articles, the and a or some, and making nouns plural. I'm going to add a few things that I didn't add in the lesson previous to this, but it's mostly a review with a few additions. Okay, so here we go. So as we talked about, in Spanish, nouns, which are described as people, person, place, thing, or idea. So we have some nouns that are living things, and then we have some nouns that are non-living things, okay? So we have two categories. We have the living things, and we have the non-living things. And what I'd like for you to do is memorize for right now the charts that I'm giving you for each one. Why is it important to know if a noun in Spanish is masculine or feminine? Because most of the sentence will be affected by whether the noun in the sentence is masculine or feminine. Okay, so whether the noun or the subject. So for living things, we have masculine and feminine categories. So why is it that they chose to categorize nouns under masculine or feminine? I don't know, they could have done blue or white, they could have done tree or shrub, but they decided masculine and feminine. So when we say masculine for a living thing, we know we're talking about a man or a boy. If we say feminine for a living thing, we know we're talking about a girl or a woman. So there are words that, there are nouns that end in certain letters that can help us identify whether these nouns are masculine and feminine. A lot of the times, if a word is a cognate, which means that the Spanish word looks like the English word and means the same thing as the English word, then those are easy to figure out whether they're masculine or feminine. But normally speaking, the rule is that 99% of the time, if a noun ends in an O, then it's masculine. And 99% of the time, if a noun ends in an A, it's feminine. So we might have, for example, we might have chica, which means girl. It ends in an A, so I know it's girl. And chico ends in an O, so I know that that word means boy. The next set of endings that can help us determine whether a living noun is masculine or feminine is if the noun ends in OR, then we know it's masculine. If it ends in ORA, it's feminine. So if I want to say the conductor of the bus, I will say conductora for a female conductor and conductor for masculine. So I have my endings, they're easy to tell. The very last thing only applies to living nouns, so living things. If my noun ends in ista, and I'm talking about a person, okay, a person, then this word can be feminine or masculine. So if I'm talking about an artist, I will say artista and artista. So this ista does not change if the person is masculine or feminine, it stays the same. So I'm not going to say artisto, I'm going to say artista because it ends in ista. So if I'm talking about Pablo Picasso, I'll say Pablo Picasso fue artista. Pablo Picasso was an artist. If I'm talking about Frida Kahlo, I'll say Frida Kahlo fue artista, was an artist, okay? This is only for living things. So if a word ends in ista and it's not a living thing, it's a non-living thing, then this rule does not apply, okay? So if I'm talking about a football player, I'll say futbolista, because it can be a boy. And futbolista can also be a girl. So both of these words are the exact same. how are we going to be able to tell which one we're talking about, whether it's masculine futbolista or feminine futbolista? This is where your articles come in handy, okay? So you're going to memorize el futbolista, the football player. And I know that this means that this football player is masculine because of the N, or la futbolista for the girl football player, okay? So let's go over to the non-living things. We have our masculine and we have our feminine. Again, they're just categories. They've been categorized as masculine and feminine, the nouns in Spanish. So it's just how they are. So again, 99% of the time, if a non-living noun, like a place, a thing, or an idea, ends in an O, then 99% of the time it's masculine. If it ends in an A, 99% of the time it's feminine. So if I say botella for bottle, I know that bottle is a feminine word because of the A after it. And these are just clues to help you. If I say pelo, which is hair, I know that hair is masculine because it ends in an O. So this, again, is 99% of the time foolproof. There are these times where if a noun ends in an O, it's actually feminine. So this is why it's very important to learn every single noun that is new by adding the article in front of it. Okay, so for example, if I gave you a word like papel, the letter L, there's no rhyme or reason, there's no trick to figure out if it's masculine or feminine. So when I give you the word papel, which is paper, I will give you the article in front of it. So this helps you determine that papel is masculine. So you would memorize el papel so that you know that papel is masculine. Okay, so another way to help you identify whether a noun that's a non-living thing is masculine or feminine is if it ends in OR or ORA. So I have a marker here. The word for marker in Spanish is marcador. I know it ends in OR. So nouns that end in OR are masculine. So this is el marcador. If I'm going to give you this one, like hora, which means time, time ends in hora with a silent H. So I know that this is la hora, okay? Or the hour. And then the next one, we're not going to go on to ista because if I have vista, then this ista, this vista, which means view, it's not a person, it's a thing. So if I say, oh, I have this beautiful view out here from my window, I'm talking about la vista. I look at the A. What is my rule for A's? Feminine. So this is la vista, the view. I know that that word is feminine. It cannot be masculine because it's a thing. It's just one or the other. It's not a person. Okay. So the next one, the next ending is ma or dad. Again, if a word ends in ma, 99% of the time, it's going to be masculine, okay? One of the things about these words that end in ma is that they're masculine if the words originated from the Greek language, okay? So all Greek words that are translated and remain the same in Spanish, if they end in ma, they're masculine. So I know that you know this one, mama. So mama does not originate from the Greek word for mom, okay? So mama, we have to look at the A, and that's feminine. So the mom, la mama. But if I'm talking about programa or sistema, okay? They all stem from the Greek origin of the word. So anything that ends in ma is masculine 99% of the time if it's a Greek or originating word, okay? How are you going to know this? You might not know, but like mama, we know is mom, it has to be feminine, okay? So For right now, I'm going to give you words that end in ma that are masculine. So you're going to put el programa, el sistema. Okay. And if a word ends in dad, most of these words in English are the ones that end in ty. So for example, society, community, what other words end in T? Anything that ends in a T normally is dad, but not all of them. Like party is fiesta, but these are words that normally end in T. So if I say community, I'm going to say comunidad. The DAD tells me that that word is feminine, la comunidad. And then the very last clue that helps us determine whether a noun, a non-living noun, is feminine or masculine is if it ends in an S or if the word ends in a sion. Now let's talk about the S. I know that I might have words like this. I might say chicos, and I'm talking about boys. So this ends in an S. And so you think, oh, this is a masculine word. Well, it is a masculine word, but not because of the S. It's a masculine word because of the O. So this S is plural. It makes it plural. When I'm talking about words that end in S, I'm talking about singular words that end in S are masculine. Okay, so if I say chicas and you see this S, that's not a singular noun. It's a plural noun. So the plurals have nothing to do with this S and identifying whether a noun is feminine or masculine. If you know this is plural, then you go to the letter before, it's an A. So I know that this word is feminine and plural. Okay, but if the words are singular and end in an S, then they are masculine. So if I have the word autobus, which means bus, it's one bus, then this word, this noun that's non-living is masculine. I would say el autobus. If I'm going to make that plural, I would add ES, and I still have an S at the end of it. I have an ES, but that's not what makes it masculine. I have to go to the singular form of the word. So same with country. País is country, and it ends in an S, so it's masculine, el país. Okay, so only for singular nouns. If a noun that's non-living ends in sion, like natación, then that word has to be feminine, la natación. So any noun that's non-living that ends in sion must be feminine. So these are clues to help you identify if a word, if a noun in Spanish is masculine or feminine. Now, again, they're not foolproof ways to identify masculine and feminine nouns, because we know that in Spanish, like in any language, there are exceptions to the rules. So in class, I gave you 5 exceptions to these rules. So the first one I gave you was dia. So dia ends in an A. And if I look at my handy dandy chart here, I know that all 99% of nouns that end in A have to be feminine. But in this case, dia is masculine. So we would have to say the day is el dia, because it's an exception to the rule. It makes up the 1% that are not 99% of the time, okay? The second one I gave you was agua. So agua means water. So here's the thing. This word does end in an A. It is a feminine noun, okay? But in the singular form, this word is masculine. But in the plural form, aguas, aguas, this word is feminine, okay? So if I know that aguas is feminine and plural, I want to say the waters, I would say las aguas. But if I'm talking about the singular form of agua, I know that this has to be masculine, so it's el, agua. So one of the things about this rule is that the reason that agua is masculine in the singular is because all nouns that begin with an A or begin with a silent H followed by an A are all masculine in the singular form. So if I have alma, agua, águila, all of these begin with an A. So in their singular form, they are masculine. Okay? But in their plural form, they are feminine because they end in an A. Las. Okay? So for right now, I want you to know that agua is masculine. I'm probably not going to give you the plural of it, but just know the reason it's masculine, even though it ends in an A, is because it begins with an A. And the third word is mano. Mano means hand. So again, 99% of all non-living nouns that end in O are masculine, but this happens to make up the 1%. So mano is feminine. I would say la mano. Okay, the hand. Number 4 is mapa. And again, this has to do with the Greek origin. So the Greek origin of the words that end in PA are masculine. So it's just like the Greek origins of the words that end in MA are masculine, same with PA. So MA and PA, if those words are of Greek origin, they are masculine. So mapa is el mapa. And the very last word is not really an irregular word, but because it's been shortened, it's irregular. So we have the word fotografía. And fotografía means photograph, okay? Oh, I just took a photograph of myself. Do we say photograph? No, we usually say I took a photo, okay? So what's happened in Spanish, like in English, we've taken this very long word and we've taken off the grafía in Spanish or the graph in English. But this word in its original form is feminine. When we take off the graph or the grafía, what am I left with? I'm left with photo. And photo looks masculine. But because the word is fotografía, it's feminine. So I include this in the irregular forms because we use photo a lot, okay? So photo is feminine, so we say la foto. And only because the original word is fotografía, which is feminine. So this is the masculine and the feminine. We ran over all this. Now I'm going to review the articles. Okay. So we know that we talked about 2 articles. We talked about the definite article, the definite article, the, definite article, and we talked about the indefinite article, and the indefinite article is a or an. With plural, if I'm saying the book, then I keep the to make the plural, the books. If I say a book and I want to say books, I'm not going to say a books. I have to change this article to a plural article. So I would say some books. So the plural of a is some. Okay, this is still the indefinite article. So do you see how I have two? Okay, in English, a and some, singular, plural. So in Spanish, the has four ways of saying. So we have a masculine way and we have a masculine way and a feminine way. We also have a masculine singular or masculine plural, feminine singular or feminine plural. If we're talking about a noun, libro, and I know that that noun ends in an O, I know it's masculine. And there's no S after it, so I know it's singular. So the masculine singular of the is el. So I would put el libro, the book. If I'm talking about botella, I know because botella, bottle, ends in an A, it's feminine. There's no S after it, so it's also singular. So the feminine singular of the is la. So I would say the bottle, la botella. If I'm going to put an S at the end of libros, I know that libro ends in an O, so it's masculine, and then there's an S after it, so it's plural. So if I'm going to do the masculine plural, I'm going to say los for the. And then if I'm saying bottles, I'm going to say botellas. I have my A here. That's what my singular word ends in, so it's feminine. My S makes it plural. So the feminine plural for the is las. You see how that worked? So when I talked about the noun affecting a lot of parts of the sentence, many parts of the sentences, this is why. So if I'm going to have a singular noun, then, and depending on if it's masculine or feminine, I'm going to have a singular, masculine, feminine article. If I have a plural noun, depending on if it's masculine or feminine, I'm going to have a masculine plural or feminine plural article. Okay. Now I'm going to go over to the indefinite articles, and it's the same. I have a masculine and feminine, singular and plural. Now, when we're talking about the singular, we're talking about the A or the N. When we're talking about the plural, we're talking about the some. Okay, so the masculine singular, if I have a masculine book and it's singular and I want to say a book, I'm going to say un libro. I don't say uno because uno is for counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If I have a feminine noun like botella and it's singular and I want to say a bottle, then I would say una botella. So una means a. I have a bottle of water. Una botella de agua. If I'm talking about some and I have masculine plural, I have some books. So here's my masculine plural. I don't want the, I want some. So I'm going to say unos. Unos. Here's the O for masculine. Here's the S for plural. Some books, unos libros. If I have some bottles, then I'm going to take the A and the S. I'm going to say unas botellas, some bottles. So these are the articles that we talked about. When you memorize a word, if you know your chart of masculine and feminine, your two charts, it'll be easy. But if I give you a word, for example, like a word like lapis, and lapis ends in a Z, that's not part of my little clues that I gave you for masculine or feminine. Do I know if this word is masculine or feminine? No. So what I want you to do is memorize the definite article with the word when you're learning the word. So if I tell you el lápiz is the pencil, you automatically know that lápiz is a masculine word. Okay, so you will memorize el lápiz, el lápiz, el lápiz. So you know that when you see lápiz, it's masculine. because you'll know it's el lápiz and not la lápiz. It's el lápiz. If I give you papel, and papel ends in an L, I didn't give you clues for words that end in L. So I'm going to tell you that papel is el papel, and you're going to memorize it. El papel, el papel, el papel, so you know that papel is masculine, because we know el is masculine. It's the masculine definite article. Okay, so that's the easiest way to learn whether a word is masculine or feminine, by memorizing the article in front of it. Now, if I'm talking about, I'm going to give you a couple of words. If I'm talking about a student, I have two ways to say the word student. So the first way is estudiante. And then the second way is alumno or alumna. So let's look at alumno and alumna. I know that because alumno ends in an O, I know that we're talking about a boy student. So I would say the student who's a boy, el alumno. And because alumna ends in an A, I know that that refers to a girl student, la alumna. But what about estudiante? It ends in an E. Now again, a student can be a boy student or a girl student, a feminine or masculine. So I cannot change this E. This is the word, I can't change it. I can't say estudianto or estudianta. The word is estudiante. So what I do to identify if I'm talking about a masculine student, a boy student, or a feminine student, a girl student, is that I will put the article in front of the noun. El estudiante, and then I know I'm talking about a student who's a boy. And if I say la estudiante, then I know that I'm talking about a student who's a girl. So this doesn't change. Estudiante is going to stay estudiante. This is what changes, the definite article. Okay, and this is what identifies which student we're talking about. Same with the word for the young person. Okay, so the young person, young, is joven. It ends in an N. We don't have any clues for words that end in N. Because joven, young person, is referring to a living thing, I know that it can exist in the masculine form and the feminine form. So again, I'm going to take the article. If I say el joven, I'm going to say the young person that happens to be a boy. If I say la joven, then it's the young person that happens to be a girl. And if you want a neutral word for any of these, then you would use the person, okay? So here's the thing about the word for the person. If I say there is a person over there, do you know if that person is feminine or masculine? You don't. So person, persona, ends in an A. So the word for person is a feminine word. It's always going to be a feminine word. So if I say the person over there is my friend, la persona allá es mi amiga. You don't know if that person is masculine or feminine. It's both. I can't say el persona. I have to say la persona. Okay? So la persona is relates to the person. It means the person, and it could be a boy person or a girl person. It's a very neutral word. Okay, so la persona is used for both feminine and masculine living nouns. Okay. Okay, so you're always going to say la persona. Okay. Okay. Also, there are two words. So one word is hombre, and the other word is mujer. So like I said, for chico and chica, chico is boy, chica is girl. Hombre is man. Silent H, hombre. That means man. Mujer mujer. Remember the J still the H sound, so J has the H sound. Mujer means woman. So those are two words you're going to have to memorize. Hombre, mujer. If I say the man, I'm going to say el hombre. If I say the woman, I'm going to say la mujer. So this is how I want you to memorize them. El hombre, la mujer. And they are both, one is masculine, one is feminine, just by definition. So el hombre, the man, masculine, la mujer, the woman, feminine. So now we're going to go on to making words plural, making nouns plural. Again, this is all review, but I'm making sure I'm grabbing all the little details that I may have missed in a lesson. So there are 3 rules for making a noun, sustantivo, plural. So if I have a singular noun and I make it plural. So my 3 rules are, the only things that can exist at the end of nouns are either consonants or vowels. So if I have a vowel at the end of a noun, of a word, so I'm talking about A, E, I, O, U. If I'm going to say this in Spanish, I'm going to say A, E, O, U. So these are the only vowels that we have in Spanish, okay? So if a noun ends in one of these vowels, and I want to make that noun plural, I simply add an S, okay? So if I say la botella, here is a vowel. It ends in a vowel. So what I'm going to do, and again, this is only when we're talking about nouns, okay? If I'm talking about an article, that's different. So to make this article plural, I happen to add an S, las. So I have to make this plural if I'm making the noun plural. And then for this, because I have a vowel, I'm going to simply add an S, botellas. Okay, I'm going to give you another one. Let's take the U. El igloo. Okay, the igloo. I'm going to take the L, and again, has nothing to do with making these plural. So L becomes los. I know that. And then igloo ends in an U. It's a vowel, so I just say iglus. Oops, iglus. I just add an S. The second rule is if the noun ends in a consonant, that's everything outside of the A, E, I, O, U, then I simply add ES. So if I say el marcador, and I know that marcador ends in OR, it has to be masculine, but it ends in an R and I want to make it plural. I take el, I make it los. And then I'm going to add an ES because this is what we're talking about, is how to make nouns plural, not articles, but nouns. So I'm going to take marcador, and then I'm going to add my ES because of this R. So if I have el papel, the paper, and I want to make paper plural, it ends in a consonant. So I must add an ES. Los papeles. There's my consonant, I add ES. Okay. I want you also on a test to be able to go the opposite way. So if I give you a plural word like los autobuses, okay? I want you to be able to say, make this into the singular. Now, so I know that los, the singular of los is el. So you must change los to el. And I know that I have a consonant here. So I've added an ES. So I have to take away the ES. So autobus. Okay. And I know that some of you are saying, why is there an accent here and there's no accent here? So let's go over that as well. Let me give you one more example of this. If I say las lecciones, and I say make this singular, then I'm going to take las, and make it la. And then I know that I've got an es. Oops. The ending is sion. And this is a consonant. So I'm going to take off my es and I'm going to say lección. Okay. The sion always has an accent over the O. Okay, so let's talk about our accents. We are going to have a lesson on accents, but not today. But I want you to know that the few words that you've learned that have accents, I want you to know why we drop them in the plural. So if I have lápiz, I didn't finish the plural. So if singular to plural, if I have a noun that ends in a vowel, I add S. If I have a noun that ends in a consonant, I add ES. If that consonant happens to be a Z, I cannot put an ES after Z. So I change the Z to a C. Now I have a consonant, so now I can add my ES. Okay, so like the word el lápiz, it's a Z, it ends in a Z. So to make lápiz plural, I must change the Z to a C, then add my ES. So I'm going to change this to los. And then I have a Z here. I'm going to change that to a C. I'm going to add my ES. So why did I keep the accent over the A? So when I look at lápiz, I have lápiz. I have two syllables. If the accent falls on the first syllable, when I make the word plural, it remains on the first syllable. If I have el autobús, I have autobús, the accent falls on the very last syllable. And if that's the case, if the accent is on the last syllable, when I make it plural, I must drop the accent. Los autobús, because this is a consonant, I add ES. Autobuses, and I drop my accent. So whenever you have an accent over the first syllable of a word, you must keep the accent when you make it plural. If the accent's on the last syllable, then you must get rid of it when you make the word plural. Okay, so this again was a review. I added a few things. I added hombre and mujer. And if you know these words, man and woman, you know that this one's masculine, el hombre, la mujer. I added estudiante, and again, estudiante can be both feminine or masculine. And I added joven, the young person, and the young person can be masculine or feminine. And I also added persona. Persona is a neutral word. It just means person, but it ends in an A, so it's la persona. So just because I'm talking about a boy person, this is still la persona, because la persona is a neutral word. It's feminine. It's a word that's feminine, and that's how it exists. It can't be persono. It's got to be persona. Okay. So this is today's 30-minute lesson, and I am going to give you some more practice on all of this. So I'm going to give it in the form of a Google form, and you can practice it as you finish the form. When you finish it and submit it, your answers will be graded, and you can see how you did. And then let me know if you have any questions. Hasta luego. Ciao.